Hey everybody, so happy to have you here on Libertarians Drinking Coffee Live. Yes, Larry Sharpe here yet again, stuck in the basement in Queens, New York, the belly of the beast where all the bad stuff's happening. Somehow I'm surviving. My governor has decided that now, when you go outside, you must wear a mask as of Friday, or it is a crime. Yes, you now must wear a mask if you are not keeping your 6-foot distance. Already in New York, it is a $500 fine for not keeping social distancing, and now I'm sure this will be another $500. So, hey!
It's all about the money, Larry.
Yes, people aren't working. You got to pay those bills somehow, so let's start stealing money from people who aren't wearing masks, but I've survived, absolutely. Today, I have somebody here I'm very happy to have. We tried this once before. I messed it up. I apologize. Now we got it right, though, so I know some of you think that I am perfect. I appreciate that, but I am not. I am human also. Thank you. I hope I haven't destroyed your image of me. I have the man himself running for Congress in New Hampshire, Zachary Dumont. Thank you for coming, sir.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's a treat to be able to come out here, and you were my first official interview, so I do appreciate that.
Look at that.
You're taking the bullet for everybody else.
So if this goes poorly, you practiced on me. I love it. Excellent. I love it. Very good.
There we go.
I would ask everybody to please like, comment, share, let people know that we are out here. Let people know that, that Zachary's here, that he's here to talk to you, to kind of show you what's going on. And let people know that libertarians we are everywhere. We are in every state. We are rocking and rolling. We are making things happen. If you want more information from him, you can see it on his Facebook page right there. Please go ahead. And someone is gasping. Yes, it is true. I'm not perfect. Yes, it is true. Thank you for the gasp. I want to ask you, Zachary, if I can.
Yeah, please.
You're already an elected official. Is that correct?
I am an elected official. The voters chose me.
I love that. And what are you elected as now?
So I am a town councilor in the town of Newmarket, New Hampshire. Quiet little bedroom community out on the seacoast.
Nice.
We do things right. We keep it local, and we are very, very politically engaged. And not to the level of and I think what's great about it is it's nothing that's hyper partisan. It's all about being active in your community, which is so just important. The way to do it.
Absolutely, 100%. I wish we had more of that in New York. We don't, as you know. I'm very happy about that. So there's the question, right? If you like it local, it's good local. What makes a guy like you decide to take that next plunge, to pick up from being here and now? Why now and why Congress?
No, I hear you. From a very young age, it was taught to me that government was good, that we understand government, that we need to, that, we have to be involved with it, and that government was just a fact of life. As a libertarian, obviously, we don't subscribe to that belief. But what I did learn, and something that I do hold near and dear to me, is that we can be involved in the systems that kind of have I don't want to say control over our daily lives, but a very strong impact.
Sure.
Congress sets the agenda for the country. Whether or not the president wants to go out and tweet what's going to happen next, the fact of the matter is the House controls the purse strings, the Senate passes treaties, and they pass new laws together. They are what set the standard for what happens in the rest of the country. Going to the House, as a congressman, I would have the ability to stand up and speak for issues that are important locally, that the average American wants their representatives to hear, that just aren't being heard now.
You're funny. You've brought up a very important point. I mean, apologies for cutting you off, but this is an important point. You're basically saying that even though we want it to be local, and many of us do, particularly libertarians, we want it to be as local as we can get it, right down to the individual if at all possible, right? So we want that still the agenda is actually being set at the federal level, even though we don't want it, but it is there. And you're saying you've got to go to where the agenda is being set. Did I read that right?
Yeah, you have to go into the belly of the beast. You can't just sit back at home and be unhappy that things aren't changing. You have to stand up for what you believe in and make sure that people know that you as a human have valid thoughts and ideas that should be heard by other people. I don't want to have to pay as much as I do in federal taxes every year. It annoys the heck out of me. I just got my driver's license renewed today. Ever been to the DMV? It is a terrible, terrible place, but it's emblematic of what most government experiences are. Right. And the fact of the matter is it doesn't have to be. We can talk about difficult questions and difficult issues and stand up for what's right. And
so let's talk about that. Difficult issues, different questions, standing up for what's right. Prior to the COVID crisis, obviously that for many people, maybe not you, but for many people, that's kind of changed how they look at things. So let me ask you, I'll do a pre and post. Pre-COVID-19, did you have key issues that you really were all about, you were talking about often, that kind of thing, I'm sure you have many. Were there one or two top ones?
So the top three that I was really pushing on were national security, healthcare, and criminal justice reform.
National security, healthcare, criminal justice. Okay.
Exactly. So for me, those are the three big things that have the most impact on our daily lives that with some minor tweaks can really bring a world of difference to the average American.
Okay, so go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, in terms of national security, I don't think anybody would disagree with the notion that we want to feel safe when we leave our houses. Of course. We want to know that we can travel places, that we're not going to, come under attack, have any issues, that we have people who are watching out for us at night. And I don't disagree with that. I believe in those values. Right. But if I have to go to the airport and get groped because, we decide that's the best way to let people on planes, I'm going to ask questions about that. If we think it's okay to have warrantless spying and wiretapping on Americans, I'm going to have some questions about that.
So if I understand what I'm hearing from you is national security, you're not necessarily talking about, bombing people in the Middle East. You're actually more concerned about how the surveillance state affects us.
Exactly. So national security starts at home first and foremost, and how we want to defend ourselves is the message that we put across to the rest of the world. So what I'd like to see, just getting to the point is I'd like to see us invest in our diplomatic structures. I'd much rather be talking with people than bombing people.
So you're saying talking works better than bombing?
I would argue that very strongly.
I'm not sure the government has agreed with you in at least the last 20 years for sure.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But, those same values where we think it's okay to indiscriminately bomb people in foreign countries, people who make less than $1 a day and can barely survive on that. Right. And then we're going to take those same attitudes here to the U.S. and no, you have no more right to privacy. You have no right to security unless the government says that, it's by their dictation. Right. That's a problem. It doesn't make sense.
I agree. As you've meant, I'm sure I heard me talk about the whole concept of, the more people we bomb, the more violence comes back upon us, right?
Exactly.
By default. And I don't want, if in my world, right, then, and this is a New York City thing, people always say you have to have hardcore security. In New York City, we don't have that, believe it or not. What we have is, if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
It may sound stupid. It may sound silly. See something, say something. It actually works. Even Mao said it, right? Mao Zedong, even he said that the way you stop terrorism, the way you stop guerrilla warfare is the civilian population, right? Yeah. If they don't want to accept these people in their areas, they can't. That's the ocean in which they swim, right? If the civilian population says no more, the bad guys can't survive. And how do we know that? In New York City, you have to remember this, we stopped the Times Square bomber. He was a Muslim. He had bombs in his car. Another Muslim actually called the cops on him. Yeah. This was a Muslim. I think he had a hot dog cart or some type of truck, maybe a food truck.
A vehicle to get it in and out.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying the guy who called on him.
Oh, okay.
He was making a living in our country. Yeah. His kids were in school. He was living his life. He's like, that guy's not ruining my career. He's not ruining my life. He's not messing up my community. No. And he called the cops on him, and they stopped him. That's literally see something, say something. It is a vigilant populace without force. I agree with you completely, brother. I love it.
Yeah. It's simple. So my barber, I've been going to him for probably 15 years or so. It's been a long time. He came to the U.S. because he wanted to leave his life in Iraq. It was war-torn. The U.S. was continuing to expand over there. He didn't want to live with terrorism. Yeah. He came here, brought his wife, raised a beautiful family, and he's a contributing member of society. And
I love it.
There's just he is the embodiment of the American dream, and I have been fortunate enough to go to him all these years. We need more of that. He cares about participating in his community. He wants to make sure that he has a good life, his kids have a good life, and his neighbors have a good life.
Absolutely.
It doesn't
right?
require putting security cameras on every single stoplight.
Absolutely agree. Yes.
None of that.
So let's now shift into what you said, healthcare.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, I don't know if you've been to a doctor lately, but
I hardly ever go. I probably should, but I hardly ever go.
It's hard because, for me, I never know if I'm going to get a bill or not. I have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. I'm terrified that I won't be able to afford healthcare. I don't know if I'm going to lose coverage type of thing. And actually, I'm turning 26. I will lose coverage in 15 days.
Look at that.
Yeah. So it's coming up. And for healthcare, it's been a mess for a long time. The doctors don't want to stand up and say something because they're afraid.
Of course.
The health administrative units don't want to stand up and say anything because status quo means that
Absolutely.
they know what to expect.
Absolutely.
And the insurance companies are just making too much money to want to do anything about it.
100%. Yes.
So my personal belief is that direct-to-consumer healthcare is the best way that we can serve our population. What I mean by that is if you stub your toe, you break your arm, you have a cough, you need vaccines, you call your doctor, you make an appointment, and you go see them. And that appointment is between you and your doctor, not 10,000 separate administrators that have to decide what goes where, not insurance companies who are stuck trying to figure out whether they're billing under the right code or not. And, why one procedure at hospital A is going to be $20 and a procedure at hospital B is going to be $90, even though it's the same procedure.
But then don't you have a fear, right? I mean, this is what I hear.
Yeah.
There's a fear of, if I let this Dumont guy get his way, he's going to get rid of all insurance and I'm going to have to pay $80,000 and I'm going to go bankrupt and lose my house and everything because that's what I know when my friend went bankrupt because the system doesn't work. We need Medicare for all.
Well, first, I'd say I understand where you're coming from. I've had a couple of procedures that I never know if I'm going to be able to afford it and if it's going to destroy me. But the fact of the matter is what we're dealing with now, people are already going bankrupt. People are afraid to go get regular health care, regular checkups, because they don't know what's going to come on the other end of that. If there's going to be a big fat bill they weren't expecting, or, if it's just going to work out fine and they never have to worry about it again. If you allow doctors to offer their service to consumers who want to buy that service on an open market system, you have price transparency and people know what they're paying for, you're not going to run into a situation where what started out as a pain in the arm is now $100,000, bill from stopping a heart attack.
It's funny that you mentioned that, right? When I ran for governor, one of the things I was talking about is it's very hard to attack the industry at all, right? As you said, insurance industry, lots of money, lots of power. Hard to attack that industry, right?
It's
and
good
if you
money.
get elected, they are going to literally have a check waving at you. Zachary, you sure you don't want to be with us? I'm telling the truth.
I hear you.
They're going to have checks waiting there. Don't you want to? Right? And in the reverse. Oh, you don't want to? I got checks to get your opponent to hammer you, right? They're going to have that threat of money and power either to give to you or to threaten against you.
Yeah.
When I was running, I knew that too, and people said that. How are you going to do that? Hospital groups, tons of money, right? Insurance companies. Oh my God, how do you deal with that? And what I said is you pass a law and/or executive order, or you find a way of making it happen to where one thing happens, and that is you simply say that anyone who sells a retail service, medical or not, any retail service, medical is not excluded, must have price transparency like any other organization. That's it. You don't change any insurance laws. You don't change anything. You simply say, if it's to consumer, it must be transparent like anything else. You don't add regulations, nothing. The second that happens, you walk in the door, there's got to be a price list. The first thing that will happen is you'll get sued. It's the first thing.
Yeah.
But the second that happens, you've just opened up the entire idea to go, oh yeah, why isn't it transparent? They should be transparent. And everything will begin to change.
Yeah, and you were not wrong. I think that if people realized what the actual true cost it costs to provide a certain service, they would ask and say, why am I paying so much? Why am I spending? There's one gentleman that I met. It was back on election day, probably would have been the second week of March here in Newmarket. He told me that he paid almost $9,000 in healthcare costs last year.
Wow.
Just before his deductible for routine medical care. And my question for him is $9,000 for what? What exactly did you do? He didn't let on that he had any major surgeries or anything like that had to be taken care of, that there was anything that stood out as being odd or severe. It came off to me like it was simple routine care. And I agree.
I remember 3 years ago, I had Obamacare probably 3 years ago. And it was so bad that it would have been better financially for me if I paid completely out of pocket and paid the penalty.
Yeah.
I actually paid more than if I had simply paid out of pocket and then paid the penalty. I have a wife and 2 kids. That's how bad it was. I get that completely. I do.
Yeah. It's like, so for example, Alex, my fiance, and I, she and I have been going through the different healthcare packages offered by our companies. And we see that the costs are up there. It's more than $50 a week for the two of us. Through my company or through her company as individuals. If we want to add anybody onto that, there's an extra charge for that. The coverage is the same amount, and it's not that much. I can't help but wonder if I just put $50 a week to the side, in my own savings account, if I just have the money for the procedures I need.
Absolutely, could work. Absolutely. So you're having some people really like your idea of immigrants.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, people are liking the see something, say something. They're liking it. I love it. Yes, right. This is an awesome thing. People are definitely enjoying it. But someone does ask you though, what are your views on Medicare for all?
If we're talking Medicare for all as a government-backed system that mandates every single person be on it and have government services provided to them, I can't stand behind that. And the reason why is just look at the VA. Look at all of the veterans that we promised we would take care of who are now suffering, who have died. New Hampshire's hospital in Manchester had rusty scalpels and pipe bursts, and it took whistleblowing doctors to come out and say this because there were veterans who couldn't go there for care. But they could go down the street to any other hospital, pretend that they're not a veteran, and have 10 times the care provided to them.
I'm a vet. I never use VA care.
Yeah. So it's not good.
Yes, I never use it. I mean, look at it. We have veterans. We have about 100 suicides a day. 22% of those are veterans, and veterans are less than 10% of our population. They're not doing a good job.
I hear you.
Right. The data right there is clearly there. I've always said this when people say, don't you want Medicare for all? I say, you mean VA for all? I literally say that. You mean VA for all? Why don't you ask veterans about that? They might say that's not a good idea.
Veterans don't want their current system. Why would the American people want that? If it's not good enough for the veterans, it's not good enough for us.
Yes.
They deserve top tier care, and they don't get that.
Absolutely.
I would honestly, to answer the question more directly, I think that if we wanted to get to a point of what a Medicare for all accomplishes, which is people are able to afford basic health services.
Absolutely. That is absolutely the goal. You're right.
It's free market and transparent pricing. You purchase the healthcare that you want. You don't have to go through your employer unless you want to. You can buy a better policy if it's offered across state lines, and you can choose to have that relationship with your primary care physician that you want to have, not that the insurance company mandates, not that the hospital administration mandates.
How about this idea of not making a mandate, but making it available? Like the way that I remember, if I remember right, I think that was what Buttigieg was talking about. I may be wrong, but I think Buttigieg, before he got out, I'm pretty sure his idea was Medicare for all who want it. I think that's what it was.
To be able to elect into that?
Yeah, I think that's what he was talking about. Yeah.
We could try it, but we're going to need a heck of a lot of work to get it to any point where it's actually viable and is not going to destroy the taxpayers. I mean, it's Medicare in and of itself is a bit of a cartel in terms of how it deals with the relationships with its hospitals. Because I have several physicians in the family, and they're never quite sure if they're actually going to get reimbursed from their services via Medicare.
All the time. There are literally medical billers whose job it is to punch and fight and scrap with insurance companies to get paid.
Exactly.
Absolutely true. Yes.
And my thought is, if we did have a Medicare for all system where we still mandate that, hospitals have to take it, but it creates this backlog of payments not being processed, I don't think that it would work out in your favor.
What I think is happening is, I see here in New York City, the best doctors don't take it.
Yeah.
Right. And which is why I was teasing when I don't go to doctors. Usually when I go to a doctor, when I rarely go, I go to whatever doctor my insurance company tells me I'm supposed to be going to.
Yep.
Right. I don't even know who my doctor is. I go, that's my doctor. I go there. My wife, though, she goes to whatever doctor she wants.
Mm-hmm.
I just pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
Because she goes to the doctor that she wants to go to. That's what she does. She absolutely makes that happen. So, yeah, I don't. Most of the time, I think when you start the Medicare, Medicaid for all plan, what you want happening is a two-tiered system. Mm-hmm. The wealthy go to wherever they want, and everyone else gets whatever, right? And the idea is, I think Paul brought us up because it's better than nothing. While I agree, better than nothing, I think that's true.
Yeah.
At the same time, in my view, that's what I call an at-least mindset, which is, well, at least it's something. At least it's something is what creates second-class citizens. That's literally the attitude. Well, at least we give them this. It's what winds up coming from that. Yeah. While the intent of at least is not bad. I don't think Paul, in any way is thinking, I don't like people or I want second-class citizens. I don't think the people who want Medicare for all are thinking that. I think their intent is amazing. They're trying to help. Mm-hmm. I think in the long run, though, it very often just creates second-class citizens.
Well, that's actually a good point. You have to realize, and as much as we may not like our current politicians, most of the people who are involved in politics want to do something. They have a goal in mind. And theoretically, that goal is, it's better for my constituents. It's better for the American people.
Sure.
It's all about how we approach that. My argument to healthcare is, we have a Medicare for all system and our veterans hate it and they are dying because of it.
Yep.
We can be better. The free market has always offered the best solutions. Maybe not the most convenient times. I will give you that. There's always room for improvement. But the fact of the matter is, consumers, where they spend their dollars, that's where the power comes from. If you choose not to shop at your local grocery store because their service is terrible, they're either going to offer better service or they're going to fold. Same thing goes with doctors. If you have a doctor that is not helping people, nobody's going to want to go there.
Yeah.
But if they're propped up by an insurance system that says, yeah,
they can do whatever they want.
Why the heck not?
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to criminal justice, your third piece.
Yeah, please. Criminal justice, just a couple items there, but I think that they are so minute, but so impactful. I think that we need to give the discretion back to judges and juries as to what it comes down to in terms of sentencing. I don't like mandatory minimums. I don't like the fact that, we make these distinctions with victimless crimes, that just because, for example, crack cocaine versus, powdered cocaine, all of a sudden you find yourself facing 25 more years in jail, even though there's still, the same type of drug,
Right.
It's how you use it slightly different. I think that if we take the approach of treating criminals to a point as victims and figuring out how they got to their situation, that we can make them better and reform them, we wouldn't have the largest prison population in the freest country in the world.
Sure.
So I think that couple of ways we do this. First, and probably foremost, is we have to look at civil asset forfeiture laws. We have to get rid of those.
Yes. Absolutely, brother. Yes.
We have to bring the war on drugs to an end. The fact of the matter is, we have lost that war.
Yep. Drugs won.
Doesn't work out. Exactly. Drugs beat the American people.
Yes,
I don't like that.
Won.
It makes me feel icky, But if somebody's going to go to prison for smoking a joint, that's a problem.
Right.
90% of the world doesn't see it as an issue, but here in the US, we've recognized that we can make money off of it. And I think the third area that we need to tackle is, we need to create a system that values humans over profit. When we have these private prisons that are...
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay, private prisons. Sure.
When we have these for-profit prisons who work with local legislators to create systems that further, I don't want to say enslave, but further entrap people into a system that they can't get out of.
Yes.
All it does is generate more money.
I think this is what, John is talking about, the idea that judges can be as corrupt as police, right? Yeah. So, but this kind of goes back to the other part you brought up, which is if we're giving judges more leeway, do we trust the judges? Right? I guess it's John's issue also, right? Are judges as corrupt, or are they? Even if judges aren't corrupt, I mean, I'm sure there's corrupt judges. I'm sure there are, but I'm also sure there's tons of judges who aren't corrupt and want to do the right thing. But if they've spent their entire career saying crack cocaine is worse than powder cocaine, aren't they going to keep doing that, if nothing else, out of habit? Or does it matter? And then if we now add the private prisons, we've had this in New York State already, where judges are getting kickbacks for sending people to private prisons to make quotas.
So first, the kickbacks, that should be a crime. That in and of itself, that is very clearly morally wrong. You are making an active choice to further, de-incentivize someone's rehabilitation and, continue to let them fall back into less than reputable ways. Forgive me. Sorry. And that in and of itself is a problem. But I think that if we looked at reforming the system as a whole, in addition to giving judges more leeway, what you'll probably end up seeing is that the current crop of judges are going to continue doing what they're doing. The newer crop of judges who are learning to be better and be different will eventually take over. Look at the healthcare industry. Health technology has exploded in the past decade alone.
Absolutely.
Not even to mention the past, 100 years, everything we've seen, because we've changed the mindset as to, how things change over time, how we can be better, more effective at accomplishing our goals. In this case, treating diseases. If we have that same mindset towards our criminal justice system, where we want to train judges to use logic, common sense, and empathy to determine their sentences, that will eventually change the whole.
I like it. So let me ask you now. You brought this up. I got it.
Yeah.
Now COVID hits, right? COVID hits. It's got to make it makes a lot of people afraid. They're thinking differently. Stuff's going on. You've watched, I'm sure, a change or even a new norm in your own community.
Yeah.
Did your issues change now? Are your main topics different, or are your main topics still those same three?
Still those same three. I think that COVID-19 aside, they still go back to these same three topics we can work with. I think that a post-COVID world, we're still going to be dealing with these same issues, just in a different way. We're still going to have the same healthcare issues. COVID-19 just exacerbates that. We still have national security questions. Those are just exacerbated by COVID-19. Actually, a great point is the comments that you made about your governor in New York, where you're not 6 feet away. You're going to get a $1,000 fine, a $500 fine. Oh, you're not wearing a mask? Well, good. You don't get to leave your house.
Yes, you can't leave your house. Yes.
That was Wuhan's first answer was, oh, hey, we have this infection. Good. Everybody just stays in their house. Next 3, 4, 6 weeks, you're there. You don't get to leave because it's better for the rest of us. That's not the case.
Right. No, I get it.
I think regardless of how COVID pans out, we're still going to have to answer these questions.
But I think there's one thing that really comes into play here. I would go 3 separate things here, right? One good, one bad, and then just, I don't know. The first one that's good. I think most people didn't believe that the local people would step up, that community would step up, the individual would step up, the private sector would step up to help. Most, I think, did not believe it. It's why they were waiting for government, right? They didn't believe that the individual would step up, and we found we have. Communities have stepped up. Individuals have stepped up. Private sector has stepped up. Late, because we were waiting for the magical government to swing their magic wands and make things happen. It didn't happen because they don't have magic wands. But we were waiting, so it's late. So I think it did. That's the good thing. The bad thing is a lot of people still are totally okay with the government shutting us down.
Yeah.
They are like, yes, governor, do more. They're like, hashtag President Cuomo, because you've ruined our lives and destroyed our economy. You've ruined us, and thank you so much. So I think that's a bad thing, right? So it's good and the bad. The number of people who immediately became childlike when they became afraid, right?
Yeah.
And then the middle one, which is, I don't know if it's good or bad, I think it's bad, which is the overall fear. People who are afraid make bad decisions, but is it, this is a question I have for you, is the overall fear will that be good enough or a big enough, I guess, motivator to get someone to go, you know what, maybe I should vote Libertarian?
I don't know if
I'm sorry, I threw a lot at you there. I apologize.
It's a lot. It's okay. We'll try to parse through this. I don't think the fear is going to be what motivates a Libertarian candidate to success in 2020. I think it's going to be not even just Libertarians. It's going to be the person that can connect to the typical American, regardless of the fear, that can reach out through, whether it's through the web or just shouting from the security of their car at the houses and neighborhoods they're driving through. Hey, vote for me. I'm here for you. I want to know what's going on, and I want to know how best we can help you. COVID-19 is going to pass. It may not necessarily be soon. We will get past coronavirus, and we're going to have to learn how to be better when it comes to fighting pandemics. But I think that in the short term, whomever can really reach out and stand up and get through all of the noise is going to be the person or people who have support in November. So, for me, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to let the people of New Hampshire know that I'm not looking for their vote because I want a cushy job for 2 years. I want them to know that through thick and thin, COVID-19 or not, they deserve a representative who is going to listen to their concerns. And I found myself questioning, the validity of whether or not I should enjoy having a stimulus check given to me. It's $1,200 between my fiance and myself. It's $2,400. Yeah. And sure, that's going to help us pay rent because I've lost a lot of money not being at work right now. And other people have lost a heck of a lot more than me. I don't want to be the candidate that votes against paychecks. I want to be the candidate that says, are we doing this in the right way? Does adding a $6,400 tax bill to every single American make sense for $1,200 of direct support now? Should we have really spent $500 billion in corporate bailouts because it makes us feel good about supporting companies that are too big to fail? Maybe they should.
Right, no, I give it. It's a piece I want to bring up, and this is a valid point.
Yeah,
there are a lot of Libertarians. Yeah, big L and little L, who are going to be getting checks from the government right now, whether that's unemployment insurance, going on some form of public assistance because they lost their job, $600 on top of that, their checks for business loans, or their $1,200. And I'm going to tell you my opinion on this. Anyone who says you shouldn't take that money, you're a fool. Take the money. They've been bending us over for years, stealing every single bit of our cash they can possibly steal, and now they're going to throw you a check for $200. I'm going to give it back because I'm righteous. What is wrong with you? Pay your bills, man. I will pay your bills.
It is a far cry for when the government steps in and says, we're going to give you tax money back. You'll have to pay for it in a few decades, but right now you get money. It doesn't happen. So for me, I shored up my rent fund, because that was the question. Can I make rent in May without these hours?
Absolutely. And that's my point. I'm just saying, don't be angry at someone for taking the $1,200. Take it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Everyone else is going to spend it. So you're going to hurt yourself because you're being righteous? What's wrong? Look, don't get me wrong. If you're in a spot, and some people who are watching are totally in a position where they don't need it, and they're making tons of money and they're good, great. If you could do it as a protest because you're in a spot where you can do it, good on you, man. Good on you, my sister. If you can do it, go ahead and do it because you can. But please, guys, don't hurt yourself over this.
Yeah.
If you got to pay your rent, pay your rent. I need you in this movement to where you can survive and be as happy as you can be. So take the money, take the $600, take the unemployment insurance, take the whatever they're going to give, survive. Again, if you're in a spot where you can just, you got the money, things are going well, and you can be a protest, I'm in. Do that, but just don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, I'll say, if there is anybody out there who's not happy that they got a stimulus check, that they don't need the stimulus check, reach out to your local community. Your churches are going to need help. Your food pantries are going to need help. Your local government might know people who cannot weather this, who are going to need more than $1,200.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. Matthew says it right there. Don't
there you go, Matthew.
Yeah.
See,
Matthew, you're 100% correct, brother. Exactly right. If you can afford it and you're doing fine, there's going to be somebody who needs that money. Throwing it there. I love it. Absolutely 100%.
Yeah.
Totally true. So, yeah, I get your point, but I wouldn't feel bad. I assume I'm going to get my check, too. I assume I am. And when I get it, I'm not giving it back, guys. I'm taking it, and I'm spending it.
Are you telling me it's okay to feel good about taking the money?
Yes. I don't have a problem with that at all. Well, look, what if you're disabled? Should you feel bad about taking money? It says SSI? Of course not. You paid into it, and so did we. I want to change the system to where charity and community will be there for you, so you won't need government. I don't want to make it so nobody gets help. Oh my God, survive, guys. We need you. Survive.
No, I hear you. Look, everything comes back to, the type of world and the type of society you want to live in. I say that things are better at the local level because you have more direct control. You are the smallest minority. As an individual, you're the smallest minority. You know what's best for you. And, you're going to live by what you think is going to bring you the most happiness and success, right? If you can reach out to your community in this time of struggle that nobody was expecting 4 weeks ago and make a difference, do it. $1,200 goes a long way, but that goodwill, that charity, that support is going to go a lot longer.
100%. So let me ask you then, how do we deal with this fear, right? How are you going to, my worry is, and I think a lot of people, particularly in the liberty movement, have the same worry. Mm-hmm. The worry is if everyone's afraid, they're going to go to their corners, right? They're going to go, I'm afraid and I lean right, so I got to go Trump because I'm afraid and I lean right. Trump will save me, right? Yeah. If I'm afraid I lean left, I got to go to Biden. Biden's my guy, is going to save me. That's depending upon what side I lean on, I'm going to be afraid and jump on one of those sides. How do you or any of us in the movement get past that fear?
It's about making connections with people. I was afraid. I went to the store and bought toilet paper. And when I found that there was nothing there, I stood there and I empathized with the other people who were in the same situation. And I realized that, there are a lot of people who feel the same way as me. And the way they're going to look at how they get around this is, what they believe in. Trump is a strong man. He stands up. He says, this is how it's going to get done. We're going to take care of it. Yada, yada, yada.
My authority is total.
People, don't even get me started. But people like that. They feel good about it. Of course. That head of the household, that strong leader mentality. You have to be able to tap into that. So I'm going to tell folks that I'm going to be a strong leader. I'm going to stand up for what's right and what I believe in, that we have good local solutions, that we don't have to tax people to death, and we shouldn't be at war with everybody for 20 damn years. Right. And on the side of the left, it's more about, we need to make sure everybody's taken care of. We need to make sure that, everybody is accounted for, that they all have the same outcome, that no matter what, they're all the same. I'm not going to fully subscribe to that, but I'm going to stand by the folks who say that they want to make the world a better place. I agree. Mm-hmm. Everybody should be able to feel good about leaving their house in the morning and not fear that they're going to be, lambasted or insulted or harassed. That's not good. That defeats the purpose of having a society, of being civilized.
So that's what you're going to say. I got it. You're going to show strength. I love that. Yeah. I love that. How do we do that now? With COVID, we're not going out, right? Yeah. So the rally's not going to be there, right? Yeah. The going out, shaking hands and kissing babies, that may never come back, right? Who knows what's going to happen? It might be the I'm going to go out and fist bump and blow a kiss to the baby. I mean, it might be that
the
now.
Elbow tap, The
elbow tap, exactly, could be that. So how do we make impact when we're not the major two parties? How do we make impact with that?
You have to find a way to inspire people. And I think that through simple acts, you can do that. So a great way to look at it is, it's not easy right now to get together as a group. What can we do from a social distance standpoint? We can all come together and we can figure out how to make our own section of our towns slightly better. Organize a day where people go out, they pick up garbage. It's for one common purpose and message. We're going to make our community better on, today's tax day. So that's a holiday. Let's go out there. Let's do this one thing today. It's about doing things that will make people feel good about themselves and feel good about your campaign. So for me, when I talk about healthcare issues, I want people to share their stories. I want them to know that somebody's listening.
I like that.
You know, so tell me, email me, campaign@dumontnh.com. Tell me your story. Who are you? Where do you come from? And what are you dealing with? What would be better for you? If we can't figure out a way to connect with people, if we can't figure out a way that, you know, to learn what other people are dealing with, we're not going to develop and move forward and be better.
Well, you know, let me go to the next piece, right? Obviously you're running to win.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yep, obviously you're running to win. In your current race, is it you and 2 others, just you and 5 others? What's your current race?
So right now it is myself as the only Libertarian candidate in NH01. I had heard rumors of a Green Party candidate. Don't think that's happening anymore. There is the incumbent who's a Democrat and somebody running against him, but that's probably not going anywhere. And on the Republican side, there are 2 well-known and well-respected Republicans running and a third locally known individual. So
do they have a primary first, or you all in the same election?
They're going to have primaries. So I believe it's September is going to be the Republican and Democrat primaries. And then they only have about a month or two's worth of time to campaign until November. And that's when it's going to be the general. Libertarian Party already did their convention in January. So we already picked out our candidates and me. Okay. so
if you look at that kind of a race.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to win. What if you don't win, right? When I was in New York, I was very lucky in one way. Mm-hmm. If I didn't win, my consolation prize was easy. It was ballot access, right? So for me, it's simple. How about you? If you don't win, is there a consolation prize? Is there another way of defining a win? Or no, you're going to win and that's it?
Yeah, no. So I would very much like to win.
Sure, of course.
But if I don't win, it's not going to be the end of the world. There's always going to be another opportunity to step forward. I'm still going to continue to do the stuff that I'm doing locally. But a consolation prize for me is if I can get Chris Pappas or if I can get the Republican nominee to take a piece of libertarian values, principles, thoughts, ideals, and incorporate it into their message. Because I said something, the voters did something, anything that they recognize, they cannot ignore us.
So can you give me an example of what that might look like? Would one of his policies change? Would he add something to a policy, remove something?
Well, so one of the things that kind of bothers me about Chris Pappas right now is he tweets about how, he speaks towards veterans issues and, he's the right candidate because, veterans know that he cares. He's been on a Veterans Affairs Committee for 2 years, and I don't hear him say anything about actually doing stuff for veterans in D.C. Bring veterans that you care about to D.C. and have them tell Congress what they're going through, what they need, how we can reform the VA to make it better for veterans. Stand up and say we shouldn't be at war. We shouldn't drop a $28 million bomb just because it feels good.
So, for example, if he were to actually stand for the veterans, if he were to actually talk about ending war, you think that would be a win for you?
For me, that would be a win. If I can get any candidate, Republican or Democrat, to stand up and say now's the time to end the war and take decisive action that brings that issue to a head, that would be a win for me.
I like that. That's good. I like that. It's good. Are there any obvious niches that you think you can grab immediately? Like, this will, this group of people, they're not being spoken to. I can speak to them. They'll come on board.
Yeah. It's hard to look at any one specific issue and say that's going to definitely be the way to go.
Okay.
I think that I've had enough of a fight with the healthcare system in New Hampshire alone in 26 years of life that I can connect with people and they're going to say that Zachary Dumont's the guy who's going to make some noise about healthcare issues.
Got it. Okay. No, that's good. So that's something, and it's big now. Healthcare is huge now.
Yeah.
Great. Is there anything specific that you want to talk about that we haven't talked about?
No, I feel pretty good, and I appreciate you letting me come on here. Just a couple things I'd point out is it's hard to want to stand up and make a difference and get elected. I certainly wasn't planning on winning my first election when I was elected to the town council in 2018. But the fact of the matter is you can do great things with just a marginal amount of effort. If you go to budget committee meetings once a month in your town
Yes.
and speak to funding issues, that's going to do a heck of a lot more than just saying, oh, well, I'm not happy with these people, or I'm not happy with this budget, so I'm just going to vote against it.
No, showing
March
up
or
is a
November.
big deal. Someone from your state taught me that. You know who that is?
Do tell.
Darryl Perry.
Yeah.
He shows up. Matters. You show up. It's amazing how many people don't show up. They say showing up's half the battle.
Yeah.
That guy, I don't know if he still does it, but I know he was. He would show up. There's a talk about the budget. He's there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Be there, showing up and talking. It's amazing how effective you can be just by at first showing up. When I crossed the state, what I would do, and I still do it when I go out and I'm at events, I thank people for showing up. It's the first step. You could have stayed home. You could have watched Netflix. You didn't. You came here and you showed up.
Yeah.
And that's if you want to affect people, it's not that you're in the street protesting. That matters, as other things matter. But show up at the actual meeting when the things are being decided and watch how people think differently about your issue.
I think a really good example of this was last year. We decided to flip a street in our town one way from one direction, one way to the other direction.
Okay.
That for us was a simple safety concern we thought would be done in 2 meetings. We do our public notice and public hearing, and we voted on it on the next meeting. We had 35 people show up at that first meeting and start really rabble-rousing about how what we were doing was going to negatively affect them. They started signing petitions, tried to get us to, flip it around. I think in the course of a week, they had 200 voters who had stood up and said, you need to change this. And it made us listen.
Yes.
We had to address it. We could not get around it.
Absolutely.
And it was
showing
so
up
minor.
matters. Absolutely. So I appreciate that message. I think it's a great message. And I wish more people figure this out. And I know we always want to, go off and win the presidency and win the governorship. And that's amazing. I love that. But as people like Paul's been saying today, and we've been talking about, local matters, right? I'm a big fan of running the big candidate. And I'm the guy. I run. Look, I got the shirt still, right? Ran for governor and all I got was his T-shirt. So I've got the T-shirt. I ran at the top of the ticket in 2018. But then 2019, everybody knows I went around supporting the local ticket.
Yeah. And
we got local victories, which, the top of the ticket gets all the press, but the bottom of the ticket, the local, they really get the victories. And I hope you are one of those local victories, my friend. I really hope that's true.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Anything you want to say before we wrap up?
No, well, you can email me at campaign@dumontnh.com. You can reach me at Facebook, Dumont for Congress. I do have a website. It needs work. If you, as a libertarian, as a Republican, a Democrat, if you have some free time and want to help us make this campaign something, please reach out. I am literally standing by, ready to figure out what I can do better to reach more people. But
I'd love to hear that.
Thank you,
Zachary.
Larry.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Cheers.